Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another presentation of the RLSA Today podcast. I am your host, Chase, followed alongside by my good friend,
Yo,
Ashton. Ashton, how are we doing?
pretty good, dude. Pretty good, man. How are you?
Pretty good myself, man. Doing doing well. Obviously, week 4 is out the way, so focused on week 5. We have a lot in store, actually, for this podcast. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it, I
What's up?
guess. Week 4 recap, obviously kind of a lot went down, I guess you could say, in terms of on the pitch,
Yeah.
but obviously no transactions or anything that really happened. But some of the transactions stood out on the pitch, is what I meant to say. But in that way, looking at what we saw here in week 4, go ahead and jump into obvious. I'm just going to talk about the first game that came to my mind is Defenders Quantum.
Definitely.
Ashton, what's your thoughts on that game?
That was an exciting game. I don't think anyone expected it to be exciting, and that's sometimes what makes it really exciting. Everyone was on upset watch from the moment this match started because it seemed like Quantum, there was something going on. They weren't entirely there, but the defenders, man, after acquiring Psycho in trade, they look like a completely different team. They're reinvigorated, and obviously they have a large road to climb. Um, they've dug themselves into a hole for sure as far as the standings are concerned, but they get their first win against a really solid team, a team I still think belongs in the top half of the league, a playoff team. So that's a great start for the defenders. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be such a good series, especially the defenders to win.
Yeah, no, I wasn't either, and it was definitely a great matchup. Good to see. I mean, obviously, like when you look into the depth of that game too, as we'll get into it more later. But the defenders, they were down 2-0 in the series. Like they legit lost the two first games, and then
Yeah,
they swept them. Like if you look at it like that,
it's
take the
true.
first two games out the way, they swept them, and it's like the defenders just came alive all of a sudden, and obviously something was wrong with Quantum that night. So very interesting. Again, like you said, we were on upset watch in the beginning of that match. But just to kind of briefly go over the rest of the matchups, we had Volts Bandits, actually a
That was a good
close
one.
close match. I predicted that correct, like exactly correct in 6 games. So props to me.
Big,
4-2
nice,
for the
dude.
Volts, and then Fire beat Riot 4-1. The Bobcats sweep the Landers.
Yes,
The
sir.
Amigos sweep the Stars, and
Crazy.
with the exception, we had an exception rule here for the Eradicators and
We'll
Elite. They
see.
will be playing their match tonight,
Or coin flip will
hopefully,
happen. Yeah.
or coin flip will happen. So we do not have a score line yet. So by the end of tonight, though, that score line will be there. So we'll see how that ends up going, if they play or if they don't. So be on the lookout for that. But that is about it for the week 4 recap. As I guess we can go ahead and get into
Mm-hmm.
a segment that I like. It's a new one, and it's called the pressure index. So when we talk about pressure index,
Mm-hmm.
there's two sections to this pressure index. It's going to be season long or season wide, I guess. Which team throughout the rest of the season has the most pressure on them, I guess you
Yeah.
can say. And then we'll look specifically into week 5, which team has the most pressure on them in week 5. So,
Yep.
Ashton, if you would like to go ahead and kick this segment off, who do you got for the season wide pressure index?
Yeah, season wide, I think going into the season and still now, it's Team Fire, I feel like, are the ones that are under a lot of pressure. And more specifically, it's you, Chase. I'm gonna call you out. I think there's a
Mm.
lot of pressure on your shoulders to perform well and to win a cup. I think a little bit that's the expectation for you and for your team. And it's been a while since you've been able to deliver on that. Obviously, it's very difficult to win in the RLSA. So we're not trying to act like it's a cakewalk and it's something you should easily be doing, and you're not. It's a difficult thing, but I don't think it's going to get any easier from here moving forward. It's just going to be even more difficult to win. So I think the Fire are under a lot of pressure. They might not feel it right now, but let me tell you, by the time the playoffs roll around and it's one and done with these series, it's going to be really, really high stress, high pressure for Team Fire.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I won't elaborate on it from, from my perspective, but I could definitely understand the take. There was that. I mean, coming into the season, the Fire had cup expectations. That's just what you have to look at this team. That was the expectation going in. So, um, my season wide, I think it's a little different. Going a different route. I have the Amigos, and I
Ooh,
think, and I know that's a weird take because obviously they're 1-3, but when you look at it though, here's the pressure index now is the Amigos have gotten the top three teams out the way. They've played the Volts, Eradicators, and they've played the Fire. So the schedule only gets easier out from here on out. And I think the pressure on them is 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 not as high, but it is at the same time because now you're going against easier teams. Now this is the time for the Amigos to prove that they can win games. And I think with the Amigos specifically, they have a great roster. Like I mean, it's true. They have Caleb J and they have Jaden. Obviously, things have not gone their way
does
so
he
far
know?
this season. But at the same time, the Amigos they have a whole season to pull it back together. This is week 5. This would be a great time for them to start, and as it continues on, the pressure is just only gonna continue. But at the same time, the schedule does get easier for them. So I think if they really want to make a push for the playoffs, that the pressure is on them from now and the rest of the season.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I want to let you know though that it's pretty much common knowledge at this point. Jaden is basically the sub. He's going through a stretch where he's super busy, and so basically it's just going to be Caleb J and Pure Motives, which is definitely a capable duo right there. They took the Fire to Game 7. They just won this week in dominating fashion. So, definitely still a capable roster, but it's basically just Pure Motives and Caleb J from this point moving forward.
Yeah, I mean that is fair. I mean we did see a good showing out of Pure Motives though. It's not like he played bad or anything. But so who do you have for this week? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I have one team in particular who is big on the pressure index, and the reason why is because of the skid they're on right now. So if you remember week 1, Landers, they took care of business against the Defenders. It went to 7 games, but they took care of business. They got the job done. Week 1, everyone's trying to figure it out. They've been on a 3-game losing streak. So they have to get away from this skid. Because I think we anticipated the Landers being a team that was in that like 6 to 8 range as far as like how good of a team they were, potentially jumping up to a 5 spot depending on how the season went. But it just hasn't gone well for them so far. Week 2, they lose in 6 to the Elite. Week 3, they lose in 5 to the Fire. Week 4, which is this past week, they just got swept by the Bobcats. So it's not good. And they're going to play a team in the Bandits who is also hungry to get wins. Because they just got to 500 off of the back of 2 back-to-back, or sorry, they had 2 back-to-back wins in weeks 2 and 3. Tough loss last week against the Volts, but they're looking to bounce back as well to stay above 500. So they're playing a hungry team, but the Landers, they absolutely need to get a win this week because if they drop to 1-4, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, no, honestly, gonna be honest, you kind of had my pick there, but I'll go a different way. I had a backup plan in mind. I do think the Landers they absolutely have a lot to prove, but I also think a team that has a lot to prove right now is Elite, and obviously we haven't seen their matchup against the Eradicators, but when you look into Elite specifically, you go back to week 3 when we last saw them play. They beat the Bobcats 4-2. That was a good showing. Um, but then against the Landers, which again the Landers now that we know what they're really capable of, it's not the best win. And then in week 1, they get swept by the Volts. And I think this Elite team, it's not to consider. This is not a pressure index of is this team good. We know that they're a good team. We know they're, I mean, in my opinion, for sure a playoff competitive team. But I think this week against Quantum, I mean, obviously Quantum's coming off a tough loss here against the Defenders. But we know Quantum is capable of hanging with the big leagues. I think if Elite are able to take business here in this Week 5 against Quantum, this would solidify them. I think this would solidify them as a playoff team. But not only that, this could potentially put them in talks of like, could we, see an Elite team get better and maybe make a run for a cup? I mean, obviously, there are some big boy teams at the top right now, but
Yeah.
I think if you can pull off a good win against Quantum here, you at least solidify yourself as a contending playoff team. And not only that, we know what Quantum's capable of against the Eradicators, and then actually Elite play Eradicators tonight. So it's just, I guess, Week 4 and Week 5, the pressure's on Elite to really come out and show how capable, what's the ceiling for this team, right? So I think if they're able to pull a great win against Quantum, this would be a perfect solidifying win.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of these teams we could make a case for having a pressure index, I guess you could say, because a lot of these teams still have a lot to prove, except the Stars, bro. They just got to prove that they're not the worst team in the RLSA, dude.
They can't prove that.
I don't even know. But, yeah, there's a quick little segment there. Just talking about, which team, maybe if you guys also want to join in, just throw in what team you personally think has the most to prove. We always love hearing you guys talk about that. But I guess we can go ahead and, Ashton, get into, of course, our week-to-week power rankings. This is big. This is where we're going to get really into depth. And my dog is ready. But Ashton, let's run through the top 3 real quick. We already know what they're probably going to be. Give me your top 3.
Yeah, so for me, there is a change in my top 3, but
okay. No, let's go one by one then. Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, go. Who's your number 1?
Yeah, well, I'll start off. There's no change here at 1. For me, it's the Eradicators. Again, they haven't played this week yet, so it's hard to know what's going to happen. But I haven't moved the Eradicators from that 1 spot. They're still a top 2 team at minimum. I think they're a really good team. When Monk is out there, they can win every series they play. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And my number 1, I still have the Volts. I mean, you look at it actually coming off their worst week in the season so far, which they won in 6. So, I mean, that's still a crazy stat. And I mean, just to go over some stats real quick, just baseline. I mean, they have, obviously they're 4-0, but they have scored the most goals in the season. You look at the Volts have scored 101 goals this season. And then the number 2 team, Eradicators, they have scored 67.
Fire have 71, and Quantum have 82. Bandits have 82.
Oh wait, frick. My bad. The Defenders have 89 goals. Shout out to the Defenders.
It's because they have played more games. You got to look at the goal differential.
Yeah, my bad. Anyways, either way, it doesn't matter because the Volts have the number 1 goal differential. They're 61 goal. This team is just offensively a machine. You can't, it looks almost impossible to stop them. But not only that, when you look at the defensive side, they're able to get it done, right? So they're able to close these games out. They're able to win these games, obviously against the Bandits, who in my opinion, is a strong team. But still, the Volts solidify them as the best team in the league for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I have the Volts at 2. It's kind of just the same reasoning for you. Really strong team, great team. They're going to be 1 and 2 until something changes between them. They just keep rattling off wins. I don't think this 1 versus 2 debate is going to be decided until they actually play each other. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, fair enough. And then again, it's kind of the same thing. My number 2, the Eradicators. There's not a real reason to change these 1 and 2. But at the same time, I think the Eradicators, if they continue to have some scheduling struggles, that could be a factor. But
true.
At the end of the day, they're 1 and 2.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and move into my number 3 then. This is where things kind of shift for me here. Is I have a team that's going to be moving up a couple spots, they're just moving up 1 spot, excuse me. A 3-1 team called the Fire. They're going to be moving into that 3 spot, and I believe I had them here originally to start the season. They were either at 3 or 4. I can't remember, but they've been in this ballpark the whole season, and really the only hiccup was their Game 7 against the Amigos, who are a bottom 2 or 3 team in this league. And then, of course, their loss. Their loss was not great. I didn't think it was a pretty loss either. I do think quality losses do exist to an extent. It didn't feel like a pretty loss. It felt like the Volts were in control. It wasn't like two powerhouses going back and forth. So as it stands right now, I think there still is a gap there. Trust me, I'm well aware of the trade that happened and that this team is better, but I still think there's going to be a little bit of a gap there. Now, when we have this Fire versus Eradicators match this week, that is going to really open things up. And especially if Fire play well against the Eradicators or even win, it could really just really confuse this top 3, and it might make the top 2 of the RLSA be a top 3, and there might be 3 really great teams. So for me, I have the Fire moving up to number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna join alongside you here. I have the Fire number 3. Obviously, they're not moving from my list from last week, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, I can totally agree. I think this week will prove a lot, so good to look forward to that. But yeah, Fire stay at my number 3 spot as well. And number 4, who's in your number 4 now?
Number 4, I got another team. They're sliding up, and this is due to another team falling, obviously, because they haven't played. But I have the Elite at number 4, and I think this is a really good team. I think it's a really good team. I know you mentioned them in the pressure index. I don't know if I necessarily 100% agree. I think the pressure might come from them being a prestigious organization and being a successful organization. I can see pressure there, especially like with the Amigos. We're talking about 2-3-time cup winning franchises here. So I think just that logo alone has pressure that comes along with it. So playing for that team includes pressure, but I feel like this roster, since they kind of figured things out and are clicking a little bit more, I think that things are moving in a really good direction. I feel like they're playing with house money at this point, personally. I feel like, we expected them to be pretty good, but I'm pretty happy with where they are.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and join you as well. I have the Elite sliding up to my number 4 spot. Kind of the same reasoning too, but at the same time, I think it is kind of funny. I think this is the original top 4 that we had in week 1, and although it's moved around, we're finally back at it. And I think Elite specifically, they've done really well bouncing back. And I think, again, you start the season very rough, 0-1, but then all of a sudden, boom, you're right back in it. You look like a great team. And again, we still have to see them play against this top dog in the Eradicators, and then obviously they have a decent matchup against Quantum now. So in my opinion, like I said, I already put them on the pressure index, but this Elite team, they've done well, and they've found themselves back up into this number 4 spot for me.
I love that. Yeah. For me, I have another team sliding up here, and this is due to a team falling. I keep saying that, and we're going to get to them soon. But I have the Bobcats moving up after a really impressive 4-0 win. They answered a lot of questions last week. We talked about on last week's podcast how they have an opportunity to win a game that they should, and they have an opportunity to win it in an impressive manner, because they could go in there and it could go to 6 games and they could win it, or they could go in there and sweep them. And that's exactly what they did. I think that's exactly what they needed. It's going to give them a boost, and I think they're going to continue riding that momentum into this week's matchup, where they have to play the Amigos, which should be another team that realistically they should win. So back-to-back weeks of games where it's, can you handle business?
Yeah, no, fair. And I think I know what team you're talking about, so I'll go ahead and mention them here. My number 5. I think this is where the bleeding kind of stops, and that's Quantum. And I think Quantum, let's not get it wrong here. They did lose, and sometimes I guess you could say in a bad way. We saw some games there where I think one of them ended 9-0 or something. I think Quantum, it was a bad loss, but again, there was just, you could tell something was off. It wasn't Quantum's night, and I feel like they could absolutely slide down more if they have more performances like that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen out of Quantum, we know what they're capable of. I think this was just a fluke week. I think they had a bad week, and I think again we could also this could just be a really good defenders team that we just need to see more out of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Quantum they do deserve to lose that top 4 spot that I had them at, but I don't think it's by much just because you can have a bad week or two, but it's all about the bounce back, right? And I think Quantum have the capabilities of doing that, so I still have them here at my number 5.
Yeah, no, I like that. I have them at my 6th spot, so we're gonna differ a little bit there, but kind of the same story here. I think they were on a roll, and I took last week's loss a little bit with too much excitement for a loss. Maybe that's the best way to word it. But they take the Eradicators to 7. You're like, oh wow, this is a pretty good team. As you mentioned, that 9-0 loss. When they lose in impressive fashion. They lose by a ton of goals. So it's not always close losses. I think something has happened between game 5 of the Eradicators series last week and today, because they haven't been good since then. They got absolutely outplayed in game 6 last week. Game 7, it was 10-0. They didn't even put up a goal. An abysmal game 7 performance. And now stack on last week's performance where you lose to a Defenders team that was reeling and looking for their first win of the season and struggling, and you let them just come in, take the series in 6. So I think Quantum's in a bit of a slide right now, and there's a very good chance that they could lose against Elite this week, which would make their slide be 3 games straight. So if they go 2-3, that's not very good. But I still think this is a top row team. I still think they're really good, and I think they're going to prove that this week with a strong performance against Elite.
Snap. Okay. We'll get into more of that later, but fair enough. And my number 6, I have the Bandits, and I think I had them here last week. I could be wrong, but I think the Bandits, they deserve this 6th spot, and it's not because teams are sliding, but it's actually because I think they've maintained that number 6 spot well. I mean, when you look at the season so far, the Volts, they've had an amazing season. They've cakewalked each team, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a crazy fight for the Volts, but the Bandits have done the best against the top team in the league so far, and we saw that last week. They were able to take 2 games off the Volts, and I also gotta just mention, like, the Bandits, it's not like they've had the easiest of times. Obviously, they're 2-2, but they're starting to bounce back. We see that offense starting to pick up. They have 82 goals. That is one of the highest in the league. I just think this Bandits team, they're finding their way here, and they're gonna have I'm not gonna say an easy game, but it's looking to be like an easy game for them here against the Landers. And I think with the Bandits, they're solidifying themselves as a team that's getting better, and I think for me they've maintained that 6th spot.
Yeah, I can hear you out on that. I'm very close to you because I have the Bandits here at the 7 spot, but for me it remains pretty simple. In a head-to-head, Quantum beat the Bandits, so I have them against that there. And the Bobcats, they have more wins. I think of late they've played a little bit better than the Bandits have, and I think that on paper the Bandits are a good team, but also something that I'm really taking into consideration here is the 2 teams the Bandits have beaten, which is the Defenders and the Stars. Those are their 2 wins. And so they've lost when they played Quantum, they lost when they played the Volts. So to me, it seems like they're able to beat the teams below them. They struggle against those teams ahead of them. So that's kind of the consensus I'm getting here with this team. So I have the Bandits at 7. I think they have everything they need to continue to win games, though. I would love to see them continue moving up. They have a game against the Landers here, kind of a similar spot to the Bobcats last week. This is a game that you should win, realistically. if this Bandits team, if you want to go to the playoffs this season, this is a game that you have to win. So for me, I have them in that 7 spot just because I think they aren't as good as the teams ahead of them, or at least they haven't proven it yet.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, we're kind of on the same page here. There's a little bit of a difference. I have the Bobcats here at number 7, and I think with the Bobcats, I mean, again, they've proven well with a big sweep against the Landers. But again, it's the kind of the Landers we're talking about. We've honestly, I mean, we now understand this Landers team isn't that strong, and sure, a 4-0 sweep absolutely solidifies yourself as not being in this bottom barrel, right? I think that's what the Bobcats needed. We talked about that last week, that they needed something like that. But at the same time, the Bobcats, I mean, kind of going along your reasoning, they lost 4-2 against the Elite. So, I mean, that's a bad loss in my opinion. And then they go to 7 against the Defenders, which, again, the Defenders were, I mean, if you're going to use the same reasoning with the Bandits, the Bobcats went to 7 against the Defenders. And then you also look, they didn't even play week 1, which could have been a bad result for them. But again, they 4-0 the Stars off coin flips. It's the Stars we're talking about.
Jeej.
So it's I mean, it's the same reasoning, but the difference between the Bandits for me and Bobcats is the Bandits lost to the Volts and the Bobcats lost to Elite. And then, I mean, obviously they pick up a great win against the Landers, but that's what the Bandits are going to be doing now, right? So the Bandits are probably going to pick up their win against the Landers, and I think it's just like these teams are so, like, they're like the same team. They've had almost the same schedule, the same results, and I think the Bobcats just a little bit worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. In my 8 spot, I have a team that's jumping up a decent amount. They're jumping up 2 spots into this 8 spot. Give me the Defenders at 8. I love this team. I think this team's great. I think bringing in Psycho is giving them the same boost off of the trade as the Fire got when they made their trade. I think it's the same type of energy that the Defenders have, and they finally got their big win, and they beat a solid team as well. And I know we're going to punish Quantum for losing this game, but I think instead of saying, oh wow, Quantum's bad because they lost the Defenders, how about we do it the other way? We say the Defenders are good because they beat Quantum. I think we're going to be able to give the Defenders credit because they've gone to Game 7s. They've kept it close. They've proven that they can win against teams, and they finally put it together. I look for them to continue winning. This is a team, for me, dark horse candidate to potentially sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, and my number 8, I low-key kind of agree with you now, but I'll still stick with my reasoning. I have the Landers here 8, and I do think they still have a valid reason to be put here at number 8. Obviously, they're on a horrible landslide right now, but I mean, give credit to the Landers. You did get swept by the Bobcats. You did lose to the Fire, and then you also lose to Elite. So the strength of schedule is still on their side compared to the Defenders. I think the Defenders, they play the Bandits, right? You look at and then they play the Bobcats. They play the Landers, which obviously, when you look at it, obviously it's a different Defenders team now, but they still lost to the Landers. So in my opinion, I do think the Landers still have a reason to be put at number 8. I mean, if you are on the Landers, you have to win this game this week, or it's just a landslide. And I think the only reason why they're at my number 8 is that we saw a little bit of a sign that the Landers can compete in some way if they can have a great week. But at the same time, Defenders, this is the new Defenders team, and I'll go into it more in when I show them for my next number 9. But well, you tell us your number 9 first.
Yeah, my number 9, there's no movement here. I have the Riot. They stay at number 9 for me. This is a team that I like because I feel like when I look at the underlying metrics, this is not a terrible team. They have a -2 goal differential. That's not good. But I think when we're talking about these bottom shelf teams, they are pretty good. And I don't think they're best of the rest. I think the Defenders are the best of the rest for the time being. But I think the Defenders could eventually be graduating from the rest, and then the Riot truly would be the best of the rest. So I think this is a solid team. Again, a pick for a dark horse candidate to have a great run later in the season, because keep in mind they just activated Apple off the UP list. So again, not a strong showing against the Fire in week 4, but there's plenty of time to turn this around. Underlying metrics say they're not that bad, so I have them here at 9.
Fair enough. And now going back to my number 9 spot with the Defenders being here. Again, I think this is a new Defenders team, right? But at the same time, the biggest question mark for me was, again, this is a team that was 0-3. Now you get your first win. Is it a fluke? Because Quantum were playing bad. Is that the only reason why you won? But at the same time, this Defenders team, they looked good. So it's more of, how high can I really put them just because they played against a Quantum team that wasn't playing well? So it's just like when you look at the Defenders, this is a team that's definitely going to be on the rise, and I still think I could definitely easily put them over the Landers at this point. But at the same time, I think 9 is still okay in my opinion, just because we don't know if it was a fluke season, if it was a fluke series. We don't know all these. We still have question marks in these answer boxes. So again, the Defenders will find themselves here at 9, but they could definitely rise up.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump on the Landers discussion here. I've got them at 10, and I think they're really struggling. And we've talked about this. They're on a 3-game losing skid. I feel like a little bit sometimes they do more talking than they do playing, and I think that also can come back to bite them a little bit. But this is not a bad team. Zach is a really good player. They have the pieces here to have a successful team, to be good, to compete. I honestly thought they were more where the Quantum and Bandits are right now, and Bobcats, where they're like going to be teetering on the edge of a playoff spot, and that's just not how it's gone of late. And again, yeah, I do like Alec and Zach playing together. I like that duo. I think they have what it takes to win games and win series. But at the end of the day, you look at it, they're sitting at 1-3 now with a -20 goal differential, a -8 game differential, which is the only team worse than them in game differential, and is the Stars. That's the only team that's worse. Like there's a noticeable jump. If you talk about the Defenders at -3, Amigos not good at -5, but they've been playing with their sub. The Riot at -4, and then it jumps to the Landers at -8, at -8. So we talk about the Bandits, as you spoke about. They're at a +3 right now. So there's a difference. There's a margin right here between these teams, and of course the Stars at -16 is not good. But like my point being is, I see visibly with the data there's a gap. There is, and I think that can't tell the whole story. They did win in week 1, but man, they need to turn this thing around.
Yeah, and my number 10, I'm gonna jump into the Riot discussion with you. I think Riot, it's just like, you look at all these 1-3 teams, right? The Defenders, the Amigos, the Landers, and the Riot. Those are all your 1-3 teams. And you look at the Defenders, who's their win against? Quantum. Who did the Landers beat? Defenders. So, I mean, not the best, but still, I mean,
you beat the team that beat the good team.
Fair. A different Defenders team. Let's get that straight. The Amigos, who did they beat? Actually, good question. Who did they beat?
The Stars.
Did they actually?
Yeah, they beat the Stars 4-0.
Dang. Okay. Well, there goes my reason. I was just gonna say the only team that the Riot have beaten is the Stars. So I mean, okay, maybe they're okay. Well, here I'll save it. Yes, maybe the Amigos and Riot only beat the Stars. That's not great at all for your one win. That does not mean anything. But at the same time, the Amigos have the only 3 losses from the Amigos are from our top 3 teams. Again, I'm gonna keep riding on this train. The 3 losses come from that. The 3 losses from Riot come from all over the place, right? You have the Eradicators, you have the Fire, so there's your 2 and 3, but then it jumps down to the Bandits. So I think this Riot team, they have a fair reasoning. They've just done it worse. And I think when you compare it to the Landers a decent 1-3 team, but at the same time, the Riot just find themselves in this like weird spot where maybe they could be a dark horse, but they're just not performing. And I think they stay at number 10 for me.
Yeah, that's fair, and I can definitely see that. For me, moving on to my number 11 spot here, this is where it gets down to it, Chase. This is the Amigos, and then since it's obvious what the last one is, I'll just reveal it. It's the Stars. And here's what I'll say is the Amigos, they have some game wins. They have some good goals scored, and they're also dealing with roster difficulties and playing through that. So I think this team is just better than the Stars in every capacity, and I think I think them sweeping the Stars proves it even more. Like, you have that head-to-head win. So those are my final two teams.
Yeah, and go ahead and throw up the exact same graphic because I'm joining you with that. And again, I just made a case for the Amigos that have done it better than the Riot. But the only reason why I'm going to give the Amigos slack is because they've had that substitute that they needed in the first week, which it resulted in a loss. We could have definitely seen the Amigos take Game 7 against the Fire there. Yeah. But at the same time, they have played. They've gotten belt to ass when they've played against these top tier teams. Yeah. And it is true. Like, the Amigos, they do need to regroup. And again, they're on my pressure index. It only gets easier from here for the Amigos. I do think I could see them by the end of, in 2 weeks from now, they could be in number 7. They could be in my number 8 spot. I honestly do think that. The only reason why they're here at number 11 is because the data and the eye test, it does combine, but it's more of the data side. You're 1-3, the goal differential is -22. It's not the best showing from the Amigos, but again, you got to give credit that they've played against the top 3 teams in a row. Now this is where you start to rise. But again, that's why they're here at number 11, just based off what week 5 has to offer. And then you look at my number 12, genuinely, this could be the worst RLSA team in history. I don't know. We are 0-4. We are 0-16. We have scored 18 goals this season. We've scored 18 goals this season. But then we have a -43 goal differential. What is happening? Dude, genuinely, what is happening? Dude, they genuinely might have to be dropped into the G League, dude. I don't know.
Relegation begins.
But yeah, that's our power rankings. Definitely a lot changed this week and within our power rankings, Ashton. But let's go ahead and jump into
hold on. I gotta say, you're just trying to save yourself because in week 2 you had the Amigos at your 5 spot. I think we need to a moment in silence for Chase's week 2 power rankings.
Well, okay, but week 2. Wait, what's wrong with week 2?
Oh, come on,
week
dude.
2 it made sense.
What were they doing in week 2?
Week 2 it made sense. Week 2 it makes sense.
No, I'm just messing with you. No, I thought it would be interesting, Chase. Just for a second, I have the week 1 power rankings that we had up. Chase, do you remember your number 1 team to go into the season, entering the season? Do you remember who you had?
I think it was Eradicators.
It was not. You had the Bobcats at 1. You had the Volts at 2. You had the Eradicators at 3. So if the Bobcats play up to potential, okay, it might not be terrible. You have the Elite at 4. Okay, Believer. Cool. Fire at 5. So realistically, you have the same top 5 there as me.
Who I had at 6 though?
At 6, you got the Amigos at 6.
Oh heck no! Quantum no!
Quantum at 7. Bandits at 8. Landers at 9. Riot.
What were you gonna say? No, skip that. What were you gonna say?
No, well, I was just gonna say, man. I think you have my current top 5 and your top 5, so you're a ball knower. We have the same top 5, really. Like, it's returned to form. I think the only thing now is I was a Quantum hater to start the season, but they've made me a believer.
I was a believer.
Yep.
I'll take that. But I was an Amigos believer too. So yay.
Yeah, but that's
But
it.
but yeah, no, that's valid that you brought that up. And I do think the Bobcats could play up to potential, but they're not. So, um, anyways, looking at our Week 5 schedule, let's go ahead and just rush through these a little bit. I feel like a lot of these are going to be kind of easy to tell.
Yeah.
Ashton,
Mhm.
who do you have against Volts Riot?
Yeah, Volts and Riot for me. I have the Volts, and to me, it's really clear. These are two teams on completely different levels. I would love to see the Riot play a tough, hard series as they did against the Eradicators earlier this season. I think that was in week 1. Obviously, with the trade and Apple being activated off the UP list, we're not sure what the roster is going to look like, but I don't think they can roll out a better roster than what the Volts are putting out there right now. So give me the Volts.
Yeah, I'm going to join you alongside there. I think the Volts take it pretty easily. Probably going to be a sweep. If only the Riot could play up to the potential of their logo, then that'd be great. But they don't. So
Yep.
Volts take it here in a sweep, in my opinion. But let's look at that Defender Stars match. I genuinely don't think we even have to mention a word about the Stars. This is a 4-0 Defenders.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We can go ahead and just throw
Even
them
if it
both
goes to
up.
coin
Yeah,
flips.
I'm gonna throw them both up with you. You know, yeah. The Defenders, they're gonna win this. They're the better team. They're on the rise. They just got their first win, and they got that taste of winning. I'm sure they don't want to stop now, especially against a team that's really struggling. Defenders are gonna take this. Could be a sweep.
Yep. No, it will be sweep. It will. Anyways, Elite Quantum. Now this is a great matchup.
Yeah, I love this.
Ashton, what's your take on this one?
You know, if you reference my power rankings, I have the Elite over the over Quantum, and I think in general, as it stands right now, I do think that they are a slight notch ahead, especially after what we witnessed last week. However, I think Quantum are going to bounce back and get the win against the Elite here, and this is not that okay. One of these teams is good, one of these teams is bad. No, I think they're really, really close. I think this is essentially a coin flip match in my head, but we're going to learn a lot more about these two teams, and I just personally think they're really, really close, and it's going to be a really good match.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Sorry, who'd you take?
I took Quantum.
You took Quantum. Okay, fair enough. I think I'm going to go the opposite way with you now. I'm going to take Elite, and I'm going to tell you right now, be prepared, all right? Listen to this, and listen to this very closely. You're about to witness the Under Masterclass in this series. Under is going to perform. Elite are going to take it. It might be close. It might go to 7, but I think the Elite are going to get it done. They're going to solidify themselves as a great playoff contending team. Not even contending. They're just a playoff team in general.
Yeah.
The Elite are going to solidify themselves here. Give me Elite in 7.
Yeah. I can see that. I think it's going to be close. Moving on to the next one, Landers Bandits. For me personally, I think the Bandits are better than the Landers. It's as simple as that. I think they're pretty close. I think both of these teams are capable of winning. I think the Landers, they need this win more than the Bandits do, but I don't think they're going to get it. Give me the Bandits.
Yep. I'll just jump in with you right here. I think the Bandits take it. I think the Bandits are definitely a better team. I don't think it's actually close, but I'm going to take the Bandits here as well. And then moving on, probably, would you say matchup of the week? Either that or
I think Elite Quantum could be a better series, but I think it's a 50-50. Yeah. It's up there. Both of these series are great.
Yeah, well, as we mentioned that, we're talking about Fire Eradicators. Ashton, what's your thoughts on this?
It's going to be a great match. And look, we're looking at a much improved Fire team. We're looking at an Eradicators team that has been letting teams take games off of them, has been winning games. So this is a true, real test for me, for the Eradicators to say, look, we're still one of the best teams in the league. We are the best team in the league, and the league runs through us. But this is an opportunity for the Fire to go in there to win it and say, hey, this is not about the big 2. This is about the big 3. This is really, really a good opportunity for the Fire to immediately thrust themselves into that conversation of potentially having a top 2 bye moving forward, but it could swing the other direction too. I just have the Eradicators winning it. I think they're the better team, and I do think the Fire have a tremendous opportunity, as I mentioned, but I think the Eradicators are going to get it done.
Yeah, very valid. I'm gonna go ahead and take fire here. Not gonna elaborate on it too much. So, moving on.
Okay.
Bobcats Amigos. Um, honestly, okay. Look, I know you won't agree with me here. I do think this is a great matchup, and I do think. Oh, actually, hold on. Mm,
See, are you suddenly
mm.
going to become an Amigos truther again?
I know they haven't given me. All right, low key. Give me switch. I don't know if you changed the graphic. Give me the upset alert. I'm taking the Amigos over the Bobcats.
Crazy
I'm
work.
gonna do it. I'm gonna take the Amigos over the Bobcats. Give me the upset alert. Obviously, I'm basing this off if Amigos come in with their starters. I think they're gonna have a bounce back. I think just because the Bobcats again they've struggled a little bit too much. I
Not
know
last week.
Amigos have struggled tremendously, but I do think something about it just tells me to go with the Amigos. It's my gut feeling. Give me the upset. I have the Amigos.
No, not going to happen. I got one word for you. It's the Bobcats. Bobcats is the word. That's who's going to win. It's as simple as that. And thank you for allowing me to get more separation in the win-loss column on our record predictions.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate
Alright.
that because I'm only up by one win right now. So donating that, it gives me a cushion in case the Elite win in their matchup. So I really appreciate that, Chase. You're very generous.
Wait, we
Always
actually
have
have
been.
we have quite a bit different, right? We have elite. I have elite. You have
We
Quantum.
only
I have Fire. You have
we have
Eradicators.
three
I have Amigos. You have
differences.
Bobcat.
Yeah, we have three
Dang.
differences.
Okay,
I
this
think
is a good week. This is a good week.
it's a good week. You can tell. It was a normal week until you picked the Amigos over the Bobcats. Yeah, we're definitely
Yeah.
gonna have to tell the Bobcats what you've said. We're gonna have to tell them.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, Ashton.
Yep.
That is the week 5 schedule. So we're before we end. What's actually, I don't know if you saw a bit in the.
There's a
chat.
lot of
We
them.
did
I have them
ask-
picked out too.
Okay, good. Well, we picked out some questions from you guys that you've specifically asked for us to answer. So, Ashton, give us whatever questions you picked out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we went ahead and asked everybody out there, give us questions in the Discord. What do you guys think? So I'm going to be reading them from who they're coming from and specifically what it says, and then we can kind of just react to and talk about them. So we have Psycho here. He says, my question is, how are the Landers so trash? Chase, what do you think?
Yo, yo, yo. It low-key might be the green. I mean, I won the cup with the Landers. I'm a Landers
Okay,
guy.
bro.
Don't get me wrong, but I never liked the green. I didn't think the green was the best color. So
You think it's the
I'm gonna
color?
Just go with that. I think it's the color.
I mean, they can't be that bad. I think it's pretty clear. I think if the focus was more so on their controllers and what they do in the game instead of the keyboards and what they do on Discord, it would be
who asked that
different.
question?
It was Psycho.
Okay, how is this bro Psycho going to be talking when he is bounced around from 2, 1, and 3 teams? Yo!
To be fair, he did go crazy this week, to be fair. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We'll move on. Janky, he asks, thoughts on why Dami is so good at the game? And it seems like he's referring to Psycho. I didn't know. I didn't know they were moving like that.
Why is he so good at the game? Well, you can think whatever you want, but
okay, it's clear Chase disagrees. I mean, I just think he had a really great series, and I guess we'll see what happens moving forward.
Dude, just don't be the team that lets the Stars get a game.
Real,
okay?
Real.
Just don't be that team. You will get clowned on, bro. You would genuinely get clowned on. Anyways, and what's the next question, Ashton?
Yeah, I think the next question is from Zev. How are the Bobcats going to win the chip? Obviously, he plays for the Bobcats, so he didn't ask this in the sense of like what's the like road map, like how do they actually get there? But I feel like we should take it that way, Chase. What do the Bobcats need to do to win a chip this season? I think it's going to be tough because there's so many good teams.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. If you look at the Bobcats specifically, they have a good roster. Don't get me wrong. I think it's more of can they adapt and find ways to work with each other rather than maybe relying on solo plays more and like teams like Eradicators where that makes sense, right? You have Monk who is able to create solo plays, but with the Bobcats, it's a completely different type of strategy because you have two 1,700 players, level players. So, I mean, when you look at it that way, you're able to work with each other. You have the skill level to work around top level players, but obviously you're going to need help alongside that. So I think with the Bobcats specifically in their situation, they need to find a way to have that chemistry built really well and engraved that way when each match they go into continuing towards the cup, especially when it comes to playoff time. Your chemistry is there. You're working together. You're able to create plays and work with each other and get around those top level teams.
Great insight. I appreciate that. I won't speak on it because it's my team. I have one from the YouTube chat here. It's again from Psycho. I just thought it was such a good question we couldn't ignore it. It says, Chase perform as his rank challenge. I guess not a question, more of a statement. But Chase, what is your response to that?
What is my response? Buddy, tell me one thing Monk has done in RLCS that I haven't done. All right.
Oh shoot, we're going up a notch.
Listen. I'm gonna prove to you why I'm going to win this. I'm gonna win the cup this year. I promise you. You're gonna see Team Fire against the Eradicators. It's not gonna be who you think I am. Maybe I played trash these last couple weeks. Just you wait, buddy. You wait. When the defenders play with me, don't worry, buddy. You're gonna go down. But no,
Tommy Tough Knuckles in here. Holy.
Yeah, Tommy Tough Knuckles in here. Hey, bro, say that, bro. Your Bobcats ain't anything, bro. Just wait till I play them. Bro. Fire are gonna be the best team in the league by the end of this season. Don't you worry.
This is such a tough monologue, dude. This is tough.
Yeah. Chill.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut you off before you embarrass yourself anymore. All right, so I have a question here from Janky. Opinion on Janky and Dami as a duo. That would be Janky and Psycho. The defense. It's literally just self-defenders glaze. Like, it's not even real questions. It's just like listen. Right. I hear.
Should we even answer this?
Look, I'll say okay. Good job getting your first win of the season. Get a couple more and we'll have the conversation. Okay, how's that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Please.
Psycho did ask another question about the defenders. We're going to stop that. But okay, low-key, good question here. Coming in from DCXD of the Bandits. He says, one dark horse team and one collapse imminent team. So I think what he's trying to guess is, what's a team that's not doing fantastic right now, but is a dark horse to turn it around, make the playoffs, and one team that seems to be doing well, but is going to collapse. I guess maybe, should we take a second and think about it, or do you have an idea already, Chase?
Yeah, we can just. I would just say, kind of go off the top of your dome. I mean, I can go ahead and give you my.
Go
answers.
for it, dude.
I think a team that I could easily see being a dark horse contender. I'm just gonna join. I think it's me and you will kind of agree is the defenders. When you just think about the team again, like they are solid. They were able to beat a Quantum. So I think a dark horse specific team that, again, you look at the stats, they're 1-3. They haven't looked good. This could be a team that we could see on the rise. And then kind of going the other way, what's a team that I could easily see sliding off? I'm going to go ahead and say the Bobcats. I think and this is purely looking at the standings, not my power rankings. I think the Bobcats, they're at number 3 right now. They're in that playoff spot. They've done really, I mean, they've handled business, don't get me wrong. But I could potentially just start to see a gap potentially with Elite, Quantum, Fire. I think that number 3 isn't really that strong of a number 3 ranking for the Bobcats. I don't think they have the potential to maybe slide out of the playoffs, but I think they'll start to slide a little bit when it comes towards the end of the season. I think that could be a team that is on stat right now. On the paper, it looks like they're performing really well, but I think that could gradually slide down.
Yeah, I'll try and be different from you here. Okay, I have a sleeping giant from I think the Riot, or a team that could definitely turn things around. I think on paper they're really good. They just activated Apple off the UP list. I know we've mentioned that already a couple times, but my point being is I don't know if their true roster has actually had multiple series together at this point. So we're going to have to see how things end up. I think on paper that's a good team, and they've played really hard against some good teams already, and they're in the win column. They need to continue winning. It's going to be tough sliding forward, but that's my dark horse team. I think they could definitely sneak into that 6th spot and make the playoffs. A team that I think there could be an imminent collapse is Team Elite. And here's why I say that is I think we're on the verge of that already. I think there's a slight chance that in their Eradicators match, they might get belt. They might.
Huh.
I think
Yeah.
they played against teams that were struggling, and they themselves have struggled. And I a little bit question the mental strength, like the mentals, on if you can get discouraged and give up on things, just because
Right.
what we've seen earlier before. And usually when things start to go bad, it's the teams that have good mentals and can stay focused and work through it. Those are the teams that succeed. So I think the Elite, they have what it takes to be really good, but I think they've shown some cracks in the foundation already. And I would not be shocked if they start piling up a couple losses every now and again, especially to the better teams.
Yeah, I think it's honestly a pretty good take. I could understand, especially this tonight does actually matter a lot how they perform against the Eradicators. But again, we'll see that later tonight. You have any more questions for us, Ashton?
Let's do one final question, and I'm not sure how legitimate this is. This does come from Zev of the Bobcats again. He says, "How will the Defenders pull off going from last place to first place in the league?" Chase, what do you think about that?
Well, let's get it straight here. They're definitely not gonna be in first place, just because not even based off
Mathematically,
the skill level, but mathematically, like
I don't
the
know if it's
Volts
possible.
and Eradicators have to pull off. They have to at least lose 4 more games, or 3. I don't know.
But you have to think about literally every
Like-
single team ahead of them has to finish. So they have 3 losses already. So let's say they win out, right? They win out. So of their 11 games, they've lost 3. They go 8-3.
8-3.
So that means the Volts, the Eradicators, the Bobcats, the Fire, and Elite, who all have 0 or 1 losses, all have to have 3 or more losses. And then they need to win some tiebreakers magically. And the problem is these teams it's not like they're going off and playing a bunch of other teams. They're playing each other, so there's guaranteed wins within those. And you can't guarantee that amount of losses. I don't even know mathematically if it's possible. It probably is. I might sound stupid, but I don't know if it's possible for them to get
it definitely
first.
is possible. I mean, well, it might be possible.
We'll ask
but either way,
ChatGPT.
either way, it's not happening. So we don't really need to worry about it. But I definitely, hey.
Claude, handle this.
God.
Yeah. But good questions. Okay, we might hopefully collect questions in a better way next time.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of questions coming in now, so I guess we can go ahead and wrap that up. But thank you guys for your submissions, of course. And Chase, I'll leave it to you to wrap it up.
Yeah, well, again, thank you guys. I know it was last second, so kind of on us, but yeah, we might actually do this again. We'll ask ahead of time. That way we can get some actual real questions in. But yeah, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. It was another great podcast here with you, Ashton. We have a lot to look forward here in week 5. Hopefully more streams will be rolling out. We're finally getting that stuff worked out. So sorry about that. But at the end of the day, week 5 is ahead of us, and a lot to look forward to, so make sure you tune into any game that you see going live. And Ashton, it's going to do it for the RLSA Today podcast, episode 5. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you guys next time.
Later.